Hello everyone, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, Joe Judge. I think we got an interesting little take today about Mr. Judge, but before we could jump into that, I just want to say one thing. If another Giant YouTuber says something derogatory about me during their live stream, please don't feel the need to let me know, because I really don't care, because it doesn't bother me, and I do appreciate people looking out for us. But you know what? People are going to say if they're going to say it, they're going to believe what they're going to believe. We're going to just leave it at that. And I just got one other thing, just one other thing to say. Maybe if you got yourself some fake real sources, you would get some information right. Little secret innuendo there. But Joe Judge, let's talk about Mr. Judge for a second. I was thinking about this today. We are in weird times with the coronavirus and how training camp is going to be run and how we're only going to have 14 padded practices, no preseason, only 80 men on the roster. It's going to be difficult for a first-year head coach and I shouldn't say first-year offense coordinator, but a offense coordinator who has not really called plays in 5 years, a new defensive coordinator who did not have the best season in Miami, and an entire new coaching staff come in and teach a core of young players a new system. Now, I was thinking about this. We're kind of going through the same issues in Dallas, and they're going through the same issues in Washington. 2 new head coaches, 2 new coaching staffs. Of course, but the difference is you have the 2 old dogs against the young pup, Joe Judge. And normally I would say the old dogs or the old vets, the wily vets, would have the upper hand over Joe. And then, because if you think about going back to the Rams Patriots Super Bowl, I mean, basically Coach Belichick ate the young pups lunch and stole a Super Bowl that year because of the fact that he just outcoached him because he knew more than him. But the question is going to be, going into this training camp, is it a benefit or a detriment to be an established coach, because you're kind of set in your ways about how you do things? Now, I'm thinking that Joe, and I laugh because, saying that the head coach is the savior of the season is kind of a stupid comment, because of the fact, of course, the head coach runs everything. But I think Joe, and his ability to relate and educate his team, is going to be on full display this training camp. Why? Simple reason. You got a young coach, a young team, a lot of second and fourth year players, and a lot of rookies, a lot of first year players. We have a very young team, and it's easier to mold a young team such as like we have if you have the ability to relate to them and you have the ability to relate to their technology. I just have this strange feeling that Joe Judge is going to have the innate ability to reach out to his players in a way McCarthy and Rivera can't, because he's not only going to be able to speak to them directly on their level in reference to their age, but he can. I just have this feeling that Joe is going to be able to master an educational system to teach these guys what they need to know to be prepared to go on the field. Now, nothing is ever going to take away for the just practice time. Nothing will ever take away the benefit of that. And having a 3-week ramp up period, or 18, I think it's 18 days or 20 days, I can't remember. Having that period just to ramp up, you're basically just running an OTA. I mean, you're in helmet and shorts and you're kind of just running the plays. You're only going to get 14 padded practices. But I think that Joe can communicate correctly to his team on a different level because, like I said, he's almost at the same age group as the rest of his players. And a lot of times it's easier to relate to people if you understand them or if you're technically a part of that group. And I think that's going to happen with Joe. I think he is going to utilize technology. He kind of already did with the virtual training camp or the virtual off season. I think he's going to utilize technology. I think he's going to utilize his strengths not only as a motivator, but as a teacher and really find a way to disseminate the material that we have in regards to the playbook to these guys and give them the understanding they need mentally to go out on the field. Now, once you understand something mentally, you will be able to then physically, hopefully translate that. If your mind knows what it's supposed to do, hopefully your body will follow suit. Sometimes that doesn't happen. You have the old expression, mind over matter. I also like the fact that, going back to that other YouTuber, I no longer mind because you no longer matter. But what we need to do is, I think that he can focus his energy to really push forward with this. Every team is at a disadvantage by only having 14 padded practices. But the teams that are at the most, and again, this is very rudimentary, but the teams that are at the most disadvantage are the ones with new head coaches, new staffs, and new players, and maybe even a second-year quarterback. But like I said, you learn so much in the quarterback room, and I just have the feeling that, also Jason Garrett is not a dummy. I mean, I never picked on Jason Garrett directly. A lot of people like to pick on Jason Garrett. They call him the clapper and everything else, but I always thought he was a pretty astute guy. I mean, he went to Princeton for, so I mean, it can't be that dumb that he graduated from Princeton University. So I think he's going to have the same ability. Now, of course, he's not at the same age, but he has the same enthusiasm that Joe Judge has. And sometimes when you have a young team, enthusiasm is really what's going to get you through. Now, enthusiasm as a young coach and the rah-rah in the college atmosphere does have its detriments as well. If we go back to the Greg Schiano era in Tampa, the first season Greg Schiano was in Tampa, he went 7-9, and he had the rah-rah. He had his young guys. He had his team going, and they played the Giants, and the Giants were in the victory formation, and Schiano set his defense over the line and tried to make Eli fumble. Very Bush League play, very college play. He got killed for it. But the problem is, the next season, your rookies are 1 year into the league. You got other guys that are 1 year into the league. The rah-rahness starts to wear off, and that the players kind of then tune it out to the point that they tuned it out so much they got Schiano fired. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen with Joe Judge, but what I am saying is I think Judge is smart enough because he's not only been around college, he's been around the NFL, he's been around with the Belichick. And just having that ability to understand, and I really do think we did a video about, coaches falling off the Belichick tree that really have not been successful. I'm not saying Joe Judge is going to be successful. I'm not saying he's not going to be successful. But I think Joe Judge was smart enough, or is smart enough, to have picked up certain nuances of Belichickisms. And the Belichickisms is basically the same thing as the Parcellisms. Know your team. Know how you can push the buttons on certain players. Know how you have to back up on certain players. And I think that he has the pedigree from not only from college, but from the pros, that's Joe Judge it is, to understand how to properly communicate and motivate his players. I really think that Mr. Judge is going to be more than just a coach to this team. I think he's going to be a coach. I think he's going to be an ally. I think he's going to be a friend, and I think he's going to at times have to be a disciplinarian. And I think that's what's going to help him succeed and push through with the New York Giants in 2020. And like I said, I have a feeling that his ability to communicate with his players is going to help on the practice field because of the fact that I think he's going to, like I said, disseminate the information in regards to the play in a way that these players can understand. And I think that is going to be more to the key to the season because I think we have some talent. We have young talent. The problem is when you have a lot of talent and it's a lot of young talent, a lot of times those two factors can cause issues. Because of the fact that sometimes you got guys, you got a DeAndre Baker situation where the guy doesn't listen to not only the coaches but his own veterans. But I think Joe's going to be smart enough to get those guys in line, move forward, give them the information the way they understand it, and give them the information in a way that they can understand it and the way that they can translate it onto the field. And that's what I think. That's why I think Joe Judge is going to. That's what I personally think Mr. Judge is going to do. Or Coach Judge is going to do. We're going to call him. Probably should have said that. Again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. If you like, you can drop us an email at onlineBigBlue@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from everyone. We've been getting some awesome emails lately, and I try to respond to them as quickly as possible. And if I do not get the opportunity, please just give me a chance. There's a lot of things going on in life. This isn't, I wish this was my only thing that I did, but like everyone else out there, you got a lot going on. You got a lot going on in life. Sometimes it's hard to do. I can't understand how people do 4 videos a day, because sometimes it's hard to do 1 video a day. But like I said, I will get back to those emails as quickly as I possibly can. I do read them all. I think some of the comments are fantastic, and I'm gonna read some of the emails. One of the videos are coming up. But again, that is onlineBigBlue@gmail.com. And of course, follow us on Twitter at OnlineBigBlue1. And again, that's OnlineBigBlue1 at Twitter. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, if you could subscribe, if you could ring that bell, I think you know what it means. That'd be awesome.